First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is who this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai is who this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'Hashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Quadash means holy. And that's on the Paleo Hebrew. Also, want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's video, it's going to unfortunately have to be a quick hit, but just because I'm on 3%, don't have a charger, but I'm going to go into how the importance of solitude, right? The importance of solitude, right? And why the Most High puts us in those positions where you find that no matter what you try to do, you're by yourself, right? And, any brothers out there, that have been on this path, the righteous path, can attest that you've gone through a season where the Most High had you by yourself, right? No matter how much you wanted to link with other people, right? No matter how much you want to link with females, right? Nothing would work, right? And you're just by yourself. And, this happened to me. And at first I couldn't understand why. Why is it that, I'm trying so hard to, hang out with other people, but they never want to hang out. They never answer my messages. Any girl I would message who wasn't interested, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I eventually realized I'm not doing anything wrong. It's the Most High Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai that it got me in this situation. Right? The Most High talks about how there is a season to everything. Right? There is a season to weep and a season to rejoice. Right? There is a season to plant and a season to pick up that which you have planted. Right? So there are seasons where it's time for you to be by yourself. And the reason why the Most High puts you by yourself is so that you can focus on Him. Okay? That's why. Okay? Because when you're out here with your friends, you're out here doing all this shit in the world, you're distracted. Right? And distractions are ultimately that in itself. Distractions from the Most High Yahweh. Right? So if the Lord really wants you to level up and He sees that you're distracted, He's going to pull away, all these worldly things. He's going to strip you of what you have and make you focus on Him once again. Okay? And, scripture that really goes into this is in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 30. Right? When you go into the story of Esdras, essentially Esdras, right, was approached by an angel, and the angel told him, go out into this field and fast, and I'm going to give you a revelation. Right? And that right there shows you something that in order for Esdras to get that revelation, he had to be by himself. And second, he had to be fasting. Right? He had to completely detach from the flesh, okay, and feed the spirit. Right? Fasting is literally a spiritual practice. You're depriving yourself of something that your body wants, your body needs. That's one of the highest forms of spirituality that you can perform. Right? So, that right there shows you that for the Most High to talk to you, you have to really be spiritual. Right? You really have to be focused on Him. Okay? And let's read this in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 30 says, "And these words said he unto me, I am come to show thee the time of the night to come. If thou wilt pray yet more, and fast 7 days again, I shall tell thee greater things by day than I have heard." Right? So the angel told him, hey, go fast 7 days in the field by yourself, and then I'm going to give you that revelation. Right? I'm going to unlock your understanding. Okay? And that's the same thing with us today. Right, the Lord puts you through that dry season, that solitude season, so He can reveal things to you and ultimately level you up in the spirit. Right? It might be hard, it might be difficult, but at the end of the day, it's beneficial for you. Right? It talks about that in Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 11. It says, "Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby." Right? So when you're going through that chastening, that trial, okay, that tribulation, that fire, that solitude, okay, in that present moment, it's not fun. It's not joyous. Okay, it's grievous. It feels terrible when you're going through it. But at the end of the day, afterward, it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness. Right? After you go through that, you're going to realize that you came out better. That at the end of the day, it was all worth it. Right? And that's what you have to remember, at all times, is that whatever you're going through right now, at the end of the day, it's worth it. And when you finally fulfill what you have to learn, you finally fulfill, the reason why the Most High has you in that position, then you're going to realize that, the Most High is above our thoughts, okay? And his thoughts are not to destroy us, right? But to make us better, more righteous people. So, I'll say that one more time, how, you're going to stay in that same position until you learn your lesson, okay? That's one thing about the Most High, is he got infinite time, so he's going to let you keep tripping until you get it right. So if you really want to level up in life, right, level up spiritually, you're going to develop some type of attack plan to, look at your situation, acknowledge, realize, okay, what is the Most High trying to show me? And instantly, try to seek that solution and try to do the right thing. And that's how you're going to advance light years ahead of everybody, right, is that problem solution mindset. Because if you don't, you're going to stay stuck, right? When you look at the majority of people in this world, they're in that stuck mode, okay? They haven't realized, what they have to learn. And they just keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, right? One thing I always like to think about, right, more in like the business side of this world is, you have these guys talk about how, it's all mindset, and how, if you're losing, you shouldn't say, oh, I'm a loser. No, you should say, I'm a winner that's losing right now. Right? That's the mentality we're supposed to have, is that, I'm a winner. I'm going to end out in this thing winning, but I'm just losing right now. Right? And I have to figure out how to win again. Or I have to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Okay? That's the mentality we have to have. Right? Apply it spiritually, however you can. But getting back to the point, I was going into how, that solitude is for a reason, and it's for you to focus, right? No distractions. Okay, when you look at our Messiah, Yahweh Shai, he was constantly talked about how he would go be by himself to focus. Let's read this in Mark chapter 1 and verse 35. It says, and in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place and there prayed. Right, so Yahweh Shai, right, he would go in a solitary place and pray. Right, he would do his own thing to be able to have that connection, to be able to have that peace of mind, right, to let the Most High infiltrate his mind. This shows you right here, the blueprint. You got to be by yourself to level up, right? Even these, business gurus in this world have realized that. They always talk about, when you want to level up, you got to cut off all people, right? You got to focus on yourself and do your own thing. What are they going into? It's the same thing. It's the same concept, right? You got to be by yourself to really work on yourself, or else, you're just distracted, or you're focused on what everyone else is doing and not yourself. One thing about this world is that the greatest currency is attention, right? That's a real thing. Is the greatest currency in this world, one of them is attention. If you take that from people, they can't even worry about themselves. The biggest attention grabber nowadays is that social media, right? And they've manipulated it so much that they have platforms such as TikTok that are built to take your attention, right? 5, 10, 15-second reels that never stop, that only get better as you watch more and more and more. What is that doing? It's taking away your attention, right? Because they know that that's where the power is. They know that, the more you watch, the more money they make. Right? The more you watch, the more you're going to get on those TikTok shops and spend money. Right? It's all attention. So, when you, as Yahweh Shai said, keep your eyes single. That's another scripture. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 22 says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore that eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Right? So what does that talk about? It's going into how, simply put, your eye is supposed to be single. It's supposed to be on one thing. okay, which is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You're supposed to be fully focused on him, right? And hey, if you're focused on this world, ultimately your eye is not going to be single, right? There's a scripture talking about how he that loveth the world, right, the love of the Father is not in him, right? You can't love this world. You can't be completely mixed into this world, okay, because it takes away from your attention, your spirit. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I can't find it. Love of the Father. Right, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15, it says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Right, so you can't be a love in this world, right? Completely infatuated with this world, right? Because otherwise it will take away from the love of the Father. So another one, soldier. Let's get that one. That one also goes into this. Going into entangling yourself with the affairs of this life. Entangle. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3 says, thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Right? So if you're warring, right, you're fighting, you're trying to be on that righteous path, right, which that is fighting. Okay, if you're trying to be righteous in this world, that is a fight, because everything in this world is telling you to be wicked. Okay, everything. Okay, we live in a completely adulterous, wicked generation, society, government. Okay, so when you're trying to be righteous, you're warring. You're at war every single day, with those spiritual powers, those demons. So it says, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. Right? Why does it say that? Okay, somebody that's trying to be righteous doesn't mix himself, okay, with the people of this life. Okay, with the bullshit of this life. The reason is because if you put your focus on this world, the worldly things, those worldly things are ultimately gonna enter in and choke the word. Okay? It talks about that in the parable of the sower. Right? The 4 scenarios. Right? The seed fell upon stony ground. Okay, and Satan just came and took the word. Second, I believe it fell upon thorns. Okay, and the cares of this world choked the word, which that's the scenario we're talking about. Right? The seed falls on thorns, okay? And the cares of this world, okay, the lust of this world, all the things of the world come in and choke the word and make it unfruitful. What does that tell you? That all this worldly things, if you focus on it too much, it is going to ultimately lead you to being less spiritual, right? So what's the opposite of that? Being single, being solitude, being by yourself. That's what's going to give you that enlightenment, right? And I'm going to get one more scripture. Luke chapter 5 and verse 16, it says, 15, it says, but so much the more when there are fame abroad of him, and great multitudes came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities. And he withdrew himself into the wilderness and prayed, right? So showing you that Yahweh Shai, and he knew how to get himself on point. Hey, go to the wilderness, okay? Go by himself and pray. Be by himself. And let Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, in that time, the Most High, and give him that wisdom, give him those revelations, okay, that spirit on what to do. So, I'll leave it there. The importance of solitude, okay? The importance of solitude is spiritual enlightenment. That's the importance. So hopefully this is edifying. With that, to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone at the time of this truth. Shalom to elect, shalom. And I'll say something quickly. The fact that, my phone didn't go down 3% with the 15-minute video, that shows you that the Lord is dealing, man. That right there itself is a miracle. Didn't drop a single percent at 3% in 15 minutes. Hey, the Lord made that battery last. Hey, shalom.